Welcome to my channel. My name's Jared. This is another Sunday update video. I also post silent build videos on Wednesdays, so be sure to check those out as well. Today, we're going to talk some more about the Model T. Okay, so if you saw the last build video, you would have seen, again, we made some really good progress this week. So that video was all focused on the doors. We went through, took the glass out, replaced these felt channels that go on the sides, cleaned up and greased the mechanism that rolls the window up and down, and that mechanism is just amazing. You really should watch the video if you haven't already. It's just a series of small gears, and one of them's actually spring loaded, so it actually helps assist with cranking the window up. But the gears have little channels in them, and as they rotate, the channels line up and it moves the little sliding pin up, which pushes the window up or down. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've taken a lot of cars apart, German cars, Italian cars, American cars. I've seen lots of different methods for, raising and lowering the windows, but never anything like that. That was really cool to see. So anyway, the doors are back together. You can see the fabric is a little different. It has like a pinstripe to it. The original fabric had kind of a pinstripe to it, but it was a different type of fabric and it was darker. What I'm using here, this is called sunbrella material. This is very common in boats and for outdoor furniture and things like that. So it's a very durable fabric. It holds up well to the sun, but also to stains. So I like that aspect about it, and I like the way that it looks. I like that it's a little bit lighter color. I also cleaned up all the hardware here, the handles, and I'm pretty sure that these were chrome plated originally. They had a plating on them. I mean, it was so corroded and eaten away, you couldn't tell for sure if it was chrome, but I believe from photos I've seen that these were chrome plated, but they apparently were made of, I'm guessing, brass originally, and then they were plated, and I actually really like this look better, so I'm glad that they came out this color instead of the chrome finish. I like the way that looks, and other parts of the car also match, which probably these other parts were also chrome plated originally. They're just not anymore. But so that all came out really well. I got the panels in the back. I did get some springs to work in the back. The springs that I ordered for the trampoline that were a similar size and strength as the original springs, they just didn't seem to work very well. It was too strong, really. And the one original spring that didn't break, I was afraid it was going to break. I ended up using just some springs that I got from the local auto parts store. And they come in a package of just assorted springs. And they're usually for things like your throttle arm on a carburetor or other things like that. But there were a couple in there that were kind of bigger and stronger, and so I put 2 springs on each side, and that seemed to give just about the right amount of force to assist in raising it and lowering it. And those springs are modern. They're not going to break. They're a thinner metal. I feel much more comfortable that those are going to last, because it is difficult to get to those things once you put in these panels. And so real quick on that, I'll note these panels, I used these old furniture style nails to put the panels on. That's not how it was done originally. These sections here, it was very clever the way they did it. You nail this on first, and then you wrap the fabric around, and then it goes underneath here, and that hides it. So that's your attachment point hidden for these pieces. I can't really figure out how they hid all the attachment points for these door panels on the wooden framed cars. On the metal cars, they might have push-in pins, more like a modern style door panel would, but I don't understand how they did it on these metal boards. I believe maybe they stapled the sides, and then I'm not sure how they hit all the staples, but regardless, I decided to use these nails, partially because now I can take this panel back off relatively easily if I need to. So if there's an issue with the crank mechanism or some other issue inside the door, like the latch, I can access it pretty easily, and I can always put this panel back on. I don't have to remake the whole panel. I can always just nail it back on, and I can even get slightly longer nails the second time if I needed to. So it gives me the flexibility of taking the panels off. It doesn't look 100% stock, but I think it looks fine, and it's very period correct, because I think this was pretty common on furniture back then. Also, there was originally a piece of kind of a string trim that went across here, like a little rope. And I did attempt to put that on one of the panels. I just didn't like the way that it was coming out, and I didn't really like the color of it. I couldn't find something that matched exactly right. So anyway, I ended up going without that. So these are a little bit cleaner and kind of a simplified look, but still, I think it looks great. The next step will be the seats. But so other thing real quick, I mentioned I was gonna make these kind of kick panels here. I didn't make those yet because I'm not sure yet what fabric I'm gonna use for them. They would have originally been carpet. And like I said before, I did order a carpet kit. And the car originally had carpet here, it had carpet in here, it had a carpet strip along the bottom of the door panel, it had carpet around here and in here. Like lots of places had little pieces of carpet on it. So when I ordered the carpet kit, I assumed it was going to have a lot of those pieces, if not all of them. It didn't have any of them. And it was kind of an expensive kit, which made me assume that there was a lot to it, but it wasn't very descriptive. The description wasn't very good as far as buying it. Anyway, all it was is it's just two pieces of carpet. It's one piece for the front and one piece for the back. It's basically just two floor mats. So I'm gonna have to either use a different fabric on these panels and maybe not have fabric in some of these smaller areas, or maybe build my own whole carpet kit or try to match the color of that carpet. So I haven't really decided what's gonna happen yet. But so that's why I don't have those panels in, but I will figure something out. And maybe they're just gonna be the same striped material to match, and then there's nothing below them except for just those floor mats. Or maybe I'll do a full, more detailed carpet kit. So we'll see how that goes. A few other things we'll touch on real quick. In the last video, I mentioned again about the slow cranking. And I actually don't really mind the slow cranking, it's fine. But there were a lot of opinions as to what's causing it, and I get it. It's fun to try to diagnose problems like that. So I'll give you guys a little bit more information so you have all the info that I have. So people were saying, you're using the wrong size cables. You're using a 12-volt cable and not a 6-volt cable. That's why it's cranking so slow. Or the ground cable is the wrong type of cable. It's not the right braided type of cable. So I'll show you what I have here. So I ordered the cables from Snyder's, which is one of the Model T vendors. So this is the cable that goes to the switch and then to the starter. And it's exactly like the one that came off, which was the original one. So the gauge of the wire is the same, the length is the same, the connection points are all the same, so that shouldn't be an issue. This is the ground wire. Now this is a slightly different type of ground. The old one was a cable like this, and this is this flat braided cable. So maybe that's it, I don't know. But again, this came from Snyder, so this is what they offered for the car. I didn't just go to the parts store and pick up some cables. I bought the correct ones. And then this is a brand new battery. So that's pretty much all the info I have. Maybe you guys can tell me if that's the wrong ground wire or something like that. But like I said, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm kind of used to it. The other thing, I mentioned the light bulbs for the dash in the last update video, and so I've had some people message me saying where I can get them, or maybe even that they have them. So I'm going to point out kind of the uniqueness of that bulb real quick. So here's two bulbs. So this bulb is the one that I bought for the dome light. This is a 6-volt bulb. It has just a single contact down here, and that will most likely work in the dome light, and this would work in like a turn signal for a 6-volt car, right? So that's your kind of standard size bulb. This is the bulb that goes in the dash, right? It's much smaller to fit inside of here, so you can see size comparison. The glass portion is much smaller. But the really interesting thing is it has these two contact points at the bottom. Now, most bulbs have two contact points in a different way. So this bulb, the outer section here, this metal section, that's your ground, and this is your positive. You connect to those two and the light lights up. This one is not like that. Usually when you have a bulb like this with two contacts, there's actually 3 points of contact, right? There's the ground, and then there's two positives, and those two positives are on two different parts of the bulb. So for instance, one bulb would be a brake light and a tail light all in one. So one of these is brighter than the other, but these are both positive leads, and this is the negative contact here. That's not the case on this bulb. This bulb is unlike anything I've seen before in that both of these contact points are used for a single light, which means one of these is negative and one of these is positive. And this outer metal shell here is not used at all. So that makes it unique in several ways. It's small, it's powered in a very unique way. So maybe I won't find them, I don't know. These actually look as though they should work. The filaments inside don't appear to be damaged. So it could just be that I don't have a good enough connection, a good enough ground on these. Although I did test them with my voltmeter and it shows up that I'm getting power to them, so it should technically work. But maybe I can get these to work, or maybe somebody will say they have one or a couple of them and I can get those from them. Regardless, it's not a huge deal. This was an aftermarket thing. I'll probably never even drive the car in the dark. But anyway, I like to get things to work when I can. So that's a little bit deeper of an explanation on these bulbs and what makes them unique. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think. Like I said, the next step is going to be the seats. The back seat, I'm pretty confident it's going to come out just fine. There's nothing tricky about that. The front seat is going to be difficult. Kind of the way it attaches is going to be a challenge. I've noticed most of the cars I've seen that have been redone, this is a sewn seam up here, but it looks like originally they actually draped it over, stapled this, and then had like a cap that went over it. So I'm going to try to come up with something similar to that. But yeah, the front seat will be challenging. The back seat should be fine. We will see how much I get done this next week. Hopefully I'll have a video out next week with both seats. But if it takes longer than expected, it may be a delay. It may be the second week when I get one out. I also, you'll probably notice this B-pillar still looks terrible. And that's because this fabric goes in behind the seat. I'm not really sure yet how to get this seat out. So I'm assuming once I take the fabric off, I'll figure out how to pull this off. And then I'll deal with this B-pillar at the same time while I'm doing the seat. So this section and the seat, that all gets done at the same time. But everything else looks really good. It's actually a very cool place to be now inside the car. All the windows work, they're all clean. It's really coming along. I'm getting very, very excited about driving this. So we're gonna keep moving forward and get it back on the road just as quickly as possible. But okay, so that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing.